Good morning, everyone. The attendants on duty are the Israeli virtual group, Los Angeles, which is North America 10 number 7, Florida virtual 10, North America 1016, and the Colombia virtual group, and Petach Tikva 10 number 17.
The confidence is the clothing to the light, called life. This is because there is a rule that there is no light without a vessel. It follows that the light, called light of life, cannot clothe, but must dress in some kli. The kli where the light of the life is clothed is usually called confidence. It means that he sees that he can do every difficult thing. Confidence is the clothing for the light, called life. This is because that there is a rule that there is no light without a vessel. It follows that the light, called light of life, cannot clothe but must dress in some kli. The kli, where the light of life is clothed, is usually called confidence. It means that he sees he can do every difficult thing.
Beloved friends, the main deficiency and the spirit of the preparation came to us from the what we call the Israeli virtual group that actually has friends from all over the world. They had a huge deficiency from a common prayer. We will try to do it together between us.
Question for an active workshop. How do we, in the 10, can be concerned on raising the confidence level in the group? How can we, in the 10, be concerned in raising the level of confidence in the group?
Confidence in the group is when each friend will feel that it doesn't matter where he is, what state he's in, and what he's feeling right now. There are many friends who are thinking about him and are caring for him, and they give him strength and they pray for him so that he will succeed in taking the next step.
The feeling of confidence has this one base, I think, called arvut, which is a system of connections that create the feeling of the arvut between us.
To take a role and responsibility, I'll give an example for the Israeli virtual group, those that Ofer talked about, that gave us the spirit. When I was at home for 2 days, I had a group. I had 10 to work with, to be with them in lessons, to interact with. And this really gives you confidence that it doesn't matter where you are, you always have a group that you can work with. This is a practical, actual example of how you can, as a 10, give confidence to the group.
I think that we get confidence by participating in everything the group does, that you feel that in every action there's a great force. Oh, so yesterday we came for the baking of the matzah. In a pretty early hour, there were many friends downstairs, and they were all prepared and happy, and it gave a lot of forces and confidence.
Yep. You can look at the group of Bnei Baruch and see how we get confidence, how their friends are here every morning lesson, the mutual help that exists in this place. If a person needs help in any kind of form, immediately he's wrapped with love and embrace, and they allow him to focus on what he should. There are dozens of examples every day here. And what's needed is just to take an example and to end out towards this thing and to also be like that. And to pray for the friends.
We need to project what we want to receive. We have to project confidence, greatness, importance. The privilege we have to be here in the lesson and to be in this great group. If we project it outward, we'll create an environment that behaves in such a way and projects it back to us.
I would add, just like transmitting it, projecting it, to search for it in the friends, to search, to see the things that the friends are doing, and then you really get inspiration.
The confidence is something that we always have to add, because the more we advance and the ego grows, so also the confidence gets weaker. And things that seemed that would give you confidence in the past aren't strong enough now. And we constantly need this wall of arvut that we need to strengthen between us more and more. That's what will give us confidence.
Confidence is achieved in a connection between us, but it is in relation to the goal. There's a certain process also of what your confidence on the path is leaning on. If at first it leans on some kind of belief without any foundation, that we will go together and finally we'll get there, then you start getting confidence from the very fact that we're on the path and we're doing things. And the path itself becomes something that gives a feeling of confidence.
Yeah, and in this way, every time, one case and another, create this general, stable feeling of implementing the goal we have gathered for. That a state is created, that there's a feeling, like Gershon said, in Bibi, there's an opportunity to implement the purpose of creation, to come out of self-love to the love of others, and from there to the love of the Creator. And that you can attain here.
I would add that indeed these are things that we see in our eyes, and we do with our hands and legs. And by that I wish to say that all of the actions that we do towards the society, we should externalize them, we should not conceal them. Show that each one of us is investing in a society, and this gives the strength for the friends to act, and it shows them that the society is important. It gives them confidence in the friend, confidence in the righteousness of the goal and the ability to attain the goal.
I was peeking at the question and I saw that how can we, as a 10, raise the confidence in the group?
It has to be a common decision. What are we going to do? Maybe together towards the whole society? How can we, as one body, as one 10, come out with a certain task, our daily task, which is about how do we add confidence to all the 10s in World Kli, so that we will feel as one 10.
Yeah, mainly giving an example. You have to walk around with this feeling of confidence. That's what we project outside of us. That we have this confidence and we are giving it to the rest of the friends.
השם אלוקינו עבד שטוב לך למען בית השם אלוקינו עבד שטוב לך למען בית השם אלוקינו עבד שטוב לך למען בית השם אלוקינו עבד שטוב לך.
Good morning, friends. We remind you that we do not use cell phones during the lesson except for people on duty who receive the personal approval. Anyone asking a question is asked to stand up, hold the microphone close to his mouth, and speak clearly. We'll begin the lesson reading from the Pesach book in Hebrew, page 185. It's a Rabash essay. You can find it in English. What does it mean that before the Egyptian minister fell, their outcry was not answered in the work? You can find it in the Rabash articles. Again, what does it mean? Rabash article, what does it mean that before the Egyptian minister fell, their outcry was not answered in the work? And we'll continue with a quiet preparation for the lesson.
Hello,
we're studying Rabash's article. What does it mean that before the Egyptian minister fell, their outcry was not answered in the work? You can read it in Hebrew in the Pesach book on page 185. You're invited to enter our website, of course, and you can also ask questions on kab.tv. Selected questions on the relevant topics will be asked live. Again, we're going to study Rabash's article. What does it mean that before the Egyptian minister fell, their outcry was not answered in the work? Again, you can find it in the Pesach book in Hebrew or in Rabash articles.
All of the materials that we study in relation to entering Egypt and the slavery of Egypt, the exodus from Egypt, it's special material that explains to us, that clarifies to us the forces that reside in the person, how much we depend on them, how much we can organize them correctly, where they are, where they aren't, what are the limits of our participation in this whole process, and how does it influence us. And here we can really clarify the ups and downs, the nearness and farness. This is in our spiritual path. So, for the first time here, we begin to feel these discernments of the forces and the intentions that exist within us, the interrelations, and surely it's all with regards to the power of connection in the group. We have to try to see the whole gamut of these conditions within the person, how it begins to become clearer. And how does he clarify it? And then he advances in this scrutiny and examination, becoming more and more knowledgeable in that. What is each and every detail, how something can be in control or under control, and how one can relate something to the upper force, and as if give him that work and support that to the point that both surrenders and then joyfully wants to be devoted and walk in the darkness, most importantly to escape one's ego and being able to cross the Red Sea. All of that is critical to learn before the reception of the Torah, so that we're able to work in a mutual way with the light that reforms. So let's read. If there are questions on the way that are necessary to ask, then ask, because the article is long. But we're reading together, we're one body, all of us are. There's really no one is escaping, no one is separated. Everyone's responsible for everyone else. And only in one's devotion to this connection we can understand something from the article. Go ahead.
The Pesach book, page 185, or in English, what does it mean that before the Egyptian minister fell, their outcry was not answered in the work? This Zohar says, as long as their minister had dominion over Israel, Israel's outcry was not heard. When their minister fell, it is written, the king of Egypt died. And promptly, and the children of Israel sighed from their work, and they cried, and their outcry went up to God. But until that time, their outcry was not answered. We should understand this. If he says that before their minister fell, their outcry was not answered, who caused their minister to fall, so that afterward it will be possible to hear their outcry? We should also understand Why, if their minister had dominion, it is impossible for their outcry to be answered? Does their minister have the power to detain the prayers of Israel? We should also understand what is written. Then Moses returned to the Lord and said, O Lord, why have you brought harm to these people? Why did you ever send me? Ever since I came to Pharaoh to speak in your name, he has done harm to these people, and you have not saved your people at all. Then the Lord said to Moses, Now you shall see what I will do to Pharaoh, for with a mighty hand he will send him. We should understand Moses' argument when he said, Ever since I came to Pharaoh to speak in your behalf, he has done harm to these people, and you have not saved your people at all. It appears as though Moses' complaint was true, since it implies from the Creator's reply that what Moses said was true. But the Creator said, Now you shall see what I will do to Pharaoh. In other words, he would see what the Creator would do to Pharaoh. It seems as though he should have said, You will see, meaning that Moses will see, meaning ata, you with an aleph, which means you. Why does it say ata with ayin, which means now, which implies that now he will see? It means that when he came to Pharaoh previously and he harmed these people, there could not be an exodus from Egypt. But now there will be a place, for with a mighty hand he will send them and drive them out. We should understand why specifically now is the place of the exodus from Egypt. There are two things to understand here. One, why, when he came as the Creator's messenger, the situation of the people of Israel grew worse. Two, why specifically now, after the situation has deteriorated, there can be an exodus from Egypt. We should interpret this in the work. The Ari says that while the exile in Egypt, that the exile in Egypt was that the view of Kedusha, holiness, was in exile. This means that the Klippah of Egypt ruled over the people of Israel. We should interpret that the people of Israel means that the whole nation wanted to work for the sake of the Creator and not for their own sake, as it is known that Israel means Yeshar Kel, straight to the Creator, meaning everything for the Creator. The governance of Pharaoh is to the opposite, to work only for one's own sake. For this reason, the view of Kedusha means that we must work for the sake of the Creator, meaning to bestow. This discernment was in exile under the rule of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, where Mitzrayim, Egypt in Hebrew, has the letters of Meitzar Yam, narrow sea, and it is known that narrow means scarce in chasadim, mercies. It is like the Hebrew expression narrow-eyed, jealous, meaning that he can only receive and not give anything. Wide means expansive, meaning giving much, and narrow is the opposite, not giving. Which means that the Klippah of Egypt was that each one could work only in order to receive in return. But without return, meaning only to bestow, he does not permit any action. This is considered that Egypt was narrowing or constraining the quality of Israel. By this we can interpret what our sages said: anyone who constrains Israel becomes a Rosh, head. That is, who can control the quality of Israel? Only he who is the Rosh. He governs. Then he constrains the quality of Israel, not letting one work for the sake of the Creator, which is called to engage in chesed, mercy, but only in reception for oneself. This is called the Klippah of Egypt. Therefore, the order of the work is, as our sages said, one should always engage in Torah and mitzvot, lo lishma, not for her sake, and from lo lishma we come to lishma, for her sake, since the light in it reforms him. This is so because man was born with a desire to receive for himself. Hence, if we want him to do something, to emerge from the state where he is used to working for his sustenance, meaning a person is told, until now, you knew that all your pleasures, by which you sustain the body so it can exist, came only from corporeal things. You found pleasure only in corporeal things, and this is called the sustenance of the body. Engage in Torah and Mitzvot, where greater pleasure is clothed, so it is better for you to engage in Torah and Mitzvot, because by this you will have more pleasure. It is like a person being told, stop working where you used to work. There is a company where you can earn 10 times more. If he believes what he is told, he will certainly leave the job where he was used to doing all the time and go work at a new place, since he will receive a higher return. This is called lo lishma. However, from lo lishma he will come to lishma. Therefore, it is worthwhile to begin even in lo lishma, since in the end he will come to lishma. It is as Maimonides says, therefore, when teaching little ones, women and uneducated people, it is in order to receive reward, until they gain knowledge. All this is because the body understands only the mother tongue, that is, if the first language that the mother speaks to it is the language of reception, meaning to work only for the will to receive for oneself, meaning to act only for its own benefit, and the language of bestowal is something new to it, and it does not understand it. It is very difficult to learn this language. That is, understanding this language requires help from above, so as to be able to grasp this language of the will to bestow. It was said about this, he who comes to purify is aided to understand this language. This is called the generation of Babylon. As it is written, they will not hear one another's language. In other words, when they were given the work of bestowal for each to work for one's friend, the package soon fell apart. That is, it is, as is written, they stopped building the city, since at the time that they were told that each one should work for one another, for his friend, they did not know this language, and no one wanted to work for another. Hence they immediately stopped building the city, as they had no motivation to work for the sake of others. For this reason, when the people of Israel were in exile in Egypt and were under the governance of Pharaoh, king of Mitzrayim, Egypt, and wanted to emerge from his governance, they could not. It was still unclear to them what it means to work in order to bestow and not for one's own sake. Although they wanted to work for the sake of the Creator, they saw that they could not. Yet, they always had excuses as to why they cannot aim in order to bestow, and they did not feel that they were so far from the Creator. However, when Moses came to the people of Israel and spoke to the Pharaoh in each and every one of them, meaning to the will to receive in their hearts, and told them that he wanted the Pharaoh in them not to dominate the quality of Israel in them, but that he would allow working for the sake of the Creator and not for the sake of the body. When Pharaoh of the nation heard what Moses had told them, to work only for the sake of the Creator, then they understood what it means to bestow and not receive, and were promptly weakened in the work, since the body resisted with all its might, so that they would not perform any act of Kedusha. holiness. In other words, even the Lolishma now became difficult for them to do. Before Moses came, they had strength to work, because they still did not know what it is for the sake of the Creator. But when Moses came and explained to them what it means to bestow and not receive anything, the Pharaoh of each one started asking questions. 1. As it is written, Pharaoh asked, "Who is the Lord that I should obey his voice?" 2. Then came the wicked one's question, who asked, "What is this work for you?" It follows that once the people of Israel heard from Moses that they must work for the sake of the Creator, the real resistance of the evil in man began. This is the meaning of the words, "Then Moses returned to the Lord and said, 'O Lord, why have you brought harm to these people? Ever since I came to Pharaoh to speak in your name, he had done harm to these people.'" In other words, the body, which is called Pharaoh, began to resist the work. It follows that Moses' question was in order. That is, intellectually we understand that if we keep the Torah and mitzvot that the Creator commanded, the order should be that if we engage on the path of truth, the work should certainly be stronger, since we are marching on the path of truth, whereas Lolishma is not on the path of truth. Hence, when Moses came to speak in the name of the Creator, the work should have been stronger, meaning to overcome the evil with the quality of truth. However, what did Moses see? It is written, "Ever since I came to Pharaoh to speak in your name, he had done harm to these people," meaning the work to overcome the evil has become harder. In other words, not only did they become better, meaning had more power to overcome the evil, but to the contrary, the evil gained more power. Yet the truth is that before we know what it means to do everything in order to bestow, the evil in man does not show its resistance all that much, since it is given a holding place while engaging in Torah and mitzvot. Yet, when the body hears what it means to bestow upon the Creator and not receive anything for one's own sake, meaning wanting to completely uproot the evil and not give it any grip on one's Torah and mitzvot, of course it resists with all its might and does not allow being cancelled. It therefore follows that it is not that something new occurred in the evil. That is, it is not that now he received the evil. Rather, the evil that was within him had nothing to do and was virtually idle within him. But when a person wants to give all his actions to the Creator and not give anything to his body, called the will to receive for oneself, it begins to show its strength and resists being overthrown from governance over the body. It is written in the Zohar that the evil inclination in man is called a foolish old king. It says, why is it called a king? Because it controls the body. And why is it called old? Because as soon as one is born, it is present in a person. Whereas the good inclination comes to a person after 13 years. It therefore follows that as long as the evil is not revealed, there is still no one to cancel. But once its might has been exposed in full, it is possible to revoke it. Since then, when he revokes it entirely. However, when the evil is not revealed, only a part of it can be cancelled. And this is not wholeness, since from above, when a person is given something, he is given a whole thing. Otherwise, if one were to be given the power to be able to work for the sake of the Creator, if a bad part that has not been revealed remains in a person, it follows that a part that is bad and is still not revealed remains within a person and works together with the intention for the sake of the Creator. And this is not considered wholeness. This is, as a sage has said, anyone who associates for the sake of the Creator with another thing is uprooted from the world. We should interpret this in a work. This means that if a person keeps Torah and mitzvot for the sake of the Creator, but does part of the work also for the sake of the body, meaning that it will yield benefit to the body too, he is uprooted from the world, meaning from the spiritual world, since everything must be for the sake of the Creator and not at all for one's own sake. It follows that before the evil reveals its true form, it is impossible to give the person the power to uproot it, since he still does not have the full measure of the bad that will give him the power to overcome, as it is known that there is no light without a kli, meaning no filling without a leck. According to the above, we can understand the Creator's answer when he told him, "Now you shall see what I will do to Pharaoh." We asked. It should have said Ata with an Aleph, meaning you, meaning that Moses would see what the Creator will do to Pharaoh. Why does it say Ata with an Ayin, meaning now? According to what we have explained, it is impossible to give half a thing. Rather, first the full evil must be disclosed, and then comes the help from above over a complete thing. Therefore, after Moses said, "Why have you brought harm to these people and did not save at all?" but rather the bad manifested in all its might, now is the time when the salvation will come from above. This is why he said, "Now," meaning that now you will see that I will give them the necessary help. As it is written, "For with a mighty hand he will send them, and with a mighty hand he will drive them out of his land." For only now is the time, since all the bad has been revealed in them. Now we can understand why, when Moses came to as the Creator's emissary, their situation grew worse. The reason is that this is not regarded that they grew worse, but that when Moses let them see what it means that they must work for the Creator, as it is written, "Ever since I came to Pharaoh to speak in your name," meaning that we must work for the sake of the Creator, and the quality of Pharaoh must descend from its throne. Then there was room for the revelation of the evil. It follows that by Moses explaining to them the meaning of working in order to bestow, they advanced in the work and achieved the degree of truth, to know how the evil controls them. Before Moses came to them as an emissary of the Creator, they did not know the truth, how far they were from the Creator. It follows that although in action they grew worse, in truth they advanced. For only now do they have kelim, vessels, that the Creator can fill with His help. As our sage has said, he who comes to purify is aided. Now we can understand the second question. Why, specifically after they grew worse, the time came when the Creator gave the help? This was so because only now do they have the kelim that are ready to receive a complete thing. This is why it is written, "Now you will see," with an ayin. Concerning what we asked about what the Zohar says, that before their minister fell, the outcry of Israel was not heard, As it is written, and the king of Egypt died, and promptly, and their cry went up unto God. But until this time, their outcry was not answered. We asked, 1. Who caused their minister to fall? 2. Why does their minister have the strength to detain their prayer? We can understand this the way Bala Sulam said, as is presented in the book A Sage's Fruit. The thing is that to the extent that the children of Israel thought that Egypt were enslaving them and impeding them from serving the Creator, they truly were in the exile of Egypt. Hence, the Redeemer's only work was to reveal to them that there was no other force involved here, that I am not a messenger, for there is no other force but Him. This was indeed the light of redemption. It follows that the exile is primarily that we think that there is a minister of Egypt, meaning that their minister is given authority and he governs Israel. When a person thinks so, their minister rules. When the people of Israel want to emerge from the governance of the minister of Egypt and see they are asking the Creator to deliver them from his dominion, but the Creator does not deliver them from exile and they are under his governance, then they say that the Creator does not hear their prayer. The evidence of this is that he does not hear their outcry, since they see that they keep regressing instead of progressing. In other words, each time they see how they are farther from the work of bestowal. Since it makes sense that according to the work and toil that a person gives and prays to the Creator, he would deliver him from Pharaoh's governance. Yet each day he sees the opposite. That is, each day he sees that Pharaoh is ruling over him with more power, meaning he sees how he is more connected to the will to receive, and also he is more remote from the will to bestow. For this reason, the person says that the Creator does not hear the prayer. This is the meaning of what the Zohar says, that as long as their minister was given dominion over Israel, Israel's outcry was not heard. This is considered that their minister detains the prayers of Israel. That is, the people of Israel say so. Otherwise, why does the Creator not hear their outcry? And what happens in the end? Meaning, after the full form of the evil has been revealed to them, and they did not run away from the battle in the middle of the work, at that time they were rewarded with seeing the truth, that there is no minister of theirs here who was detaining their prayers, but the Creator Himself did everything. As it is written, "For I have hardened his heart." That is, the Creator made them see each time how far they were from Kedusha, meaning that the Creator revealed to them the evil so that I may set these signs of mine. Thus, specifically by revealing all the bad, the Creator can give them the help for a complete thing. Accordingly, it means that when they were rewarded with seeing, and the king of Egypt died, which the Zohar calls the fall of their minister, this knowledge that they thought that there was a minister to Egypt and that he had authority and he was detaining their outcry so it would not be heard above, that view has fallen from the people of Israel. Instead, now they were rewarded with seeing that there was no minister of Egypt who detained the prayers of Israel from being accepted. Rather, the Creator did hear their prayer, and the Creator hardened their hearts. That is, the Creator wanted the real form of evil, called will to receive for oneself, to be revealed. It follows that He did hear their outcry. Were it not for the awakening from below of the people of Israel, who wanted to emerge from Egypt's governance, meaning when they saw that all of their work was in favor of the will to receive for themselves, called Pharaoh, king of Egypt, without this awakening, the Creator would not reveal to them the form of the bed. The Creator shows the form of the bed only to those who want to emerge from the governance of the bed. They think that they are growing worse each time, when in truth, it is common sense that everything in which we exert, we advance, more or less, but we do not regress. The answer is that we are not regressing. Rather, we are advancing to the form of truth of how much the bad can work within them. Then, when they have a complete kli of evil, the Creator gives them the help. And then, everyone sees that the Creator did hear the prayer the whole time. According to the above, it is clear what they thought, that there was a minister of Egypt who detains the prayers. We asked, why does this minister have the power to control the prayers of Israel? The answer is that this is what they thought. The second question, what caused their minister to fall from his authority? It is that they worked all the time and did not run away from the battle until there was room to reveal all the bad. Then they were rewarded with the truth. Until then, there was also no minister here of theirs, but they thought so. It follows that two things came at once, which our sages call his divorce and his hand come at once. According to the above, we need great strengthening, and not to run away from the battle, but to believe that the Lord hears the prayer of every mouth. And there is no other force in the world, but only one force, that of the Creator. And He always hears everything that is turned to Him.
What an article. Really. Questions? Yes.
The question of Lema from Los Angeles: how do we balance the pleasures within the 10, according to what it says, which is called the sustenance of the body, engaged in the Torah and Mitzvot, where the greater pleasure is dressed. Therefore, it's worthwhile for you to engage in Torah and Mitzvot, since by that you will get a greater pleasure, and not to lose the direction of Lishma.
How to balance the work?
How do we balance the pleasures in the 10 according to what it says there about the sustenance of the body?
We have to understand that the 10 is not a kli. The kli is the 10 that becomes one. To the extent that they can integrate with that notion of one, that becomes the spiritual kli. And towards this unity and this consolidation, this is what our work is for. And so then you feel the disturbances from Pharaoh's minister, which is deliberately done by the Creator as a burdening of the heart, to lead them to the understanding of what is connection and separation, as well as the the unity of the connection, where they discover the new state. But everything is measured, again, I say, not in the 10, but in how the 10 becomes one. And it becomes one to the extent that it's connected with one force, that there's none else besides him. And there are no many forces to the extent they can unify all the disturbances as one single disturbance and feel that it's not a disturbance, it's a teaching. It's like a process where a teacher gives an exercise to a student. And so they always hold on with arvut for each other. Everyone receives a burdening of the heart in a different time, in a different way, with respect to other discernments, and everyone helps their friend. There's no such thing that one cannot help the other, because again, what exists in one does not exist in the other. So even if I'm in a descent and I cannot exit it, but towards my friend I can help him. I can help. Because he is in other discernments, in his burdening of the heart. Next. What's next? Next is the matter of paying attention to the reward. At first, we only work for the reward. A reward that we understand. Success, corporeal success. Not about succeeding in corporeality in this world, but just to know, to be in control, to understand. Then we start moving to a different kind of success, which is about how devoted I am to the group, and how through the group I am devoted to the upper force. And then my payment or reward for all the labor is to annul in the group, to dissolve in the upper force, meaning I already work on acquiring the vessels of bestowal. To move to Lishma. What else? That's the whole process of Egypt, from one end to the other. We go in there in order to gain and succeed with our ordinary vessels. And that's the way Joseph talks as well. And so they fit into Egypt very well, because to the as little as their vessels of bestowal are, they are working in Egypt. The will to receive is blossoming, enjoying, everything's great, until bit by bit, out of the work, out of how the Creator works on them, they begin to feel that they're separated, opposite. The reward changes. They begin to see their work differently. And that's the progress. Egypt is a very special time. That's why all the degrees are a memory of a recollection of the exodus from Egypt, because these vessels have to be renewed in each and every degree until the final correction. Yes.
Itai from Romania is asking, before the entrance to Egypt, the people of Israel were working in Lo Lishma, but they were already on the degree of Yashar El, Yashar Kel. What's the difference between the people of Israel before the entrance to Egypt and the people of Israel after they come out of Egypt?
Before the entrance to Egypt, it is a small will to receive. There's no great resistance. They understand they have to connect, because that leads to the whole spiritual success. And the spiritual success, the way it's depicted to them, is success. The way they can see it now in the vessels of reception. They are connected to Egypt. On the previous level, being in the land of Canaan, there's hunger. And in the next degree of Egypt, there's abundance. So they go there. They fit in. But, bit by bit, in the burdening of the heart, the burdening of the will to receive, they begin to see that the work is different. That the connection itself, when they try to connect and they want to be successful at it for egoistic purposes, which is what they've got right now, which is what they can understand. They can't see more than that. So that's why there is the factor of the light that reforms. And that's the main thing here. Without it, we wouldn't succeed at all. As much as you try to connect in the will to receive, you'll end up with a will to receive. So what we have to do, though, is make actions of connections meticulously. As we're told, this is called the work of Egypt. Very organized. And Pharaoh organizes their work in order to lead them to holiness. So what's up to us to do is the actions that we are instructed, and our ego, by all these actions, will be reformed. We will feel how it doesn't agree, that it suffers blows, that we want to connect and we can't, and so on and so forth. Many discernments. This is a really unique article, so I would read it several times. All right? Yes.
Abraham in Babylon had a complaint against the Creator. In Egypt, Moses had a complaint against the Creator. Does the complaint, the argument, teach about a connection, about this transition or conduit, passageway between the Creator and the created beings?
Yeah, the claim is that every time we move from state to state, then moving from one state to another happens above reason. And that's why we don't feel the continuity. And that's why there seems to be a leap and inversion of thought and calculation and attitude until that analysis happens in the person, and then he enters the next state. Yes?
There are days when ideas that we talk about in the lesson of bestowal, connection, Creator, cause you later on throughout the day to be paralyzed. You don't have the ability to do anything. Here too, this idea that the knowledge comes to the people of Israel that they have to work only for others, only for the Creator, it begins to spin this wheel of the burden of their heart, the awareness that they're working for Pharaoh, that it's pointless, that you have to ask of Pharaoh, ask of the Creator.
Maybe think otherwise. That don't resist. You know, try to make an exercise of agreement. If I work and everything is for the others, how easy everything becomes. I do whatever I can, and I don't worry about anything. I just think about how others will be better off that. That's it. Try to think that way. It immediately takes away so much concern off of you. Check it. It's a psychological exercise. That's not spiritual, but you'll see. What? Why do people enjoy in groups of that sort?
There's fulfillment to the ego. I can do things that others are not doing.
And there's also a sense of freedom. I do what I'm needed, what's demanded of me, but the result is not my concern. Everything flows out of me. That's it. The will to receive doesn't limit you. Try it. You'll see how it relieves you from pressure. Meaning there's an egoistic game here of the will to receive that attracts us to that. Yeah.
When is it considered that you come to when the recognition of evil advances the person, and when the recognition of evil can be like putting an obstacle before a blind person? When does the time come? He talked about this time of now. Now you will see. There is a time when it is fitting to work through awareness of evil that will push you forward, and there is a time when it's not fitting, when it's better for a person to stay the way he is. What is this now? That now is the time to begin.
If you hold on to the principle of none else besides Him, and you try to maintain that, then the manners of your work change each time besides this principle. And that's how you keep advancing towards the right direction. The Creator is always more hidden and more revealed, but His, your aim. More. Yes.
He writes here that what causes progress in the scrutiny is the question of what does it mean to bestow and not receive anything in return. From that come the questions of Pharaoh, from that comes the revelation of evil.
That's what I told Rami.
So what does it mean to bestow and not receive anything in return?
Bestow and not receive anything? To work, and that the result of the work will be received in someone else. And then your work is entirely, completely in your account, actually. The account, though, is not yours. Try to do this in the group.
It's really felt when you said it now, how it immediately awakens inside a scrutiny, immediately.
If there's a general consensus in the group, more or less, and group support for this, you will be able to do it, as well as pray to have energy and power, light that reforms, and then you'll advance.
How is it possible, for example, now, to have a scrutiny, the right scrutiny, of what it is to bestow and not receive anything, and to simply, I don't know if it's true to speak this way, but to reveal the evil inclination so that we come to the right result.
Why should we discover the evil inclination? We always aim to discover a good thing. What, I'm smart because I read what he wrote? No. So the question is,
what it is to bestow and not receive anything.
How to correctly connect in the group. Right? When everyone helps the others be connected, serves as an example, and then we all ask for the light that reforms until the Creator appears between us. Simple. I'm not smart to go through all those nuances that he wrote about in this article. It'll happen by itself if I advance correctly. Most important for us is to decide that it's doable. It's a doable exercise. We have all that's needed for it. Yes, Nessie.
It says that Pharaoh actually asked this question, who is the Lord that I should listen to him? So there's awareness of the Creator at least. Then comes the question of a wicked one who says, what is the work you do? It seems like the wicked one is stronger than Pharaoh. We're always focusing on Pharaoh, but specifically through the evil, when we come to the wholeness of the evil, only then comes the salvation of the Lord. So
what's your problem? How the evil helps the Creator succeed?
We always say that people of Israel came out of Egypt because of Pharaoh.
You see that he helps, that it pushes. The ego itself indicates to people that it's impossible to succeed in it. Yeah.
So what in the end causes them to come out? Pharaoh or the revelation of the evil?
Pharaoh, which discloses the evil.
How do we use that? What should we do so that...
Wait, we haven't come to that yet. You'll start connecting, then you'll start discovering these frictions, and then you'll see how it helps. It's all with respect to the connection. It's not intellectual or anything. It's only towards that point of connection, the center of the group.
Great, so where is the evil? In Egypt or after they come out of Egypt?
Who? What?
The revelation of the evil.
Recognition of evil?
Where is it?
The recognition of evil is in the center of the group. The more you are drawn to the center of the connection between you, there you discover that it pushes you backwards. Yes, Vlad.
So what exercise did you recommend before? What was the exercise? What should we do?
Ask Itai. Ask Itai. The exercise of connection. What are the exercises we need to do? There's only one exercise. It doesn't matter where we are, conventions, meals, lessons, at work, wherever you are. There's one practice of connection, coming back to Adam Rishon.
Yesterday we had an exercise that the friends are like babies and you care for them, so that if not for them, it's not worthwhile living. And it was really strong. It was clearly felt that everyone is trying. Today it sounded like what we did yesterday. It was like a game.
So what? What's not good about that being a game?
Because it seemingly felt how much we're not capable of...
If a child, a little child, that you see him playing in order to grow, if he would do that intellectually, consciously, that would be the smartest work there is, because he's working in order to grow. So because he doesn't have the mind for it, the Creator is activating him. But these are the smartest actions that can ever be. The higher providence takes that upon itself and it runs that little creature to make it grow. The Creator is doing that. The kids have no mind of their own in that sense. They're being managed to grow. Why don't you want to do this all over yourself with your mind?
We do want to do it.
All right, so why do you say, today it seems like a game? Of course it's a game, so what? Our whole life is like that. The game means that I wish to envision a more advanced state. And I do all sorts of actions to enter it. I play with it. I play in advancing. That's how it always is. Always. If we want to advance from place to place, It is only by game. Cells in the body or in plants, anywhere, if they want to grow, they create a game. They have this simulation. In short, they simulate the state that they want, and only by discovering the deficiency for an advanced state, the light that reforms is drawn, and then it works. And it works in each and every cell in the body, and it's the same light that works. Only there it happens instinctively, naturally. But you always have to discover a deficiency, receive light from above, and grow. Another deficiency, another light, and more growth.
So the right result from our game, our exercise, is that the next day you discover how much you cannot and you begin anew?
Right. Not from the beginning. It's the next degree.
Work to bestow and not to receive anything. It's another exercise in connection.
Right. It's very difficult to annul oneself. Very difficult. Give him a microphone, he won't move.
What are the signals that keep this picture of the center of the group? What are the signals that sustain the picture of the center of the group?
Signals like what?
Signs that is creating the picture of the center of the group. Yeah, the center of the group.
That everyone disappears there. It's like, they say that there's, in space, you have these...
black holes.
Right, black holes. Yeah, in Hebrew it's black holes. And it sucks everything into it, but that's the wormhole into the next dimension. That's the center of the group.
What keeps this picture alive?
That we wish to disappear there, to depart from our ego, and there we have contact with the Creator. That's what holds it.
It doesn't have like an x-axis and a y-axis?
According to what? What's the X and Y?
I'm asking you.
I don't know what you mean by X and Y.
Maybe that on the one hand there is the revelation of the evil, on the other hand the revelation of the good. This sustains the picture. I'm asking you, like two forces that have to keep it alive and refreshing it.
I realize that this is the only way in which I can advance towards adhesion with the Creator. That's it. And only if I lose my ego, and that is by practicing with the friends, then I reach this kind of adhesion with the Creator. Eventually, I have to see this kind of picture. All right, we're moving to test. What?
Denise from Moscow is asking, what is the difference between a spiritual exercise and a psychological exercise? How can we do only spiritual exercises, not psychological exercises during the day?
That depends on man's attitude. Whether it's inner or outer, psychological or spiritual. It depends on the person. But basically, you have to do it anyway. What we are told, what they tell us, we have to do it. The degree, the height of the exercise, how we practice it, that days will tell. Person's progress will happen. All right? Yes?
He writes here, and by this, according to what we said, that you cannot give up a thing, rather before you have to disclose all the evil, and then comes the help from above over a complete thing.
All the evil that is necessary for the recognition of the evil called Egypt. But in every degree, the recognition of evil is whole. Only then you see there's more evil, more will to receive to correct. No. Egypt is divided into years. And we need to understand that by the efforts we make, we discover that evil more and more. That can't be revealed at once, because otherwise we won't be able to suffer it.
But every time another layer of evil is revealed, in my respect, it's a complete evil.
For now. And they show you more and more until you reach a state that recognition of evil is enough for you to disconnect from it. You don't disconnect from the evil that's revealed. It's revealed, you don't agree, you do want it, yes, no, good, bad, you curse it out, whatever. But still, you don't agree in everything, no matter what. In your whole, pay with your life in order to disconnect from it. You're not in that.
And another layer of evil was revealed to me. What am I supposed to do with it?
Every evil that's revealed, you must reveal it in a purposeful manner. Towards what is it evil? Or either towards your ego, towards a bad feeling, towards an understanding which isn't sufficient, towards friends, a group, life, and so on, or you hate that evil because it disconnects you from bestowing to the Creator through the group until you reach such a recognition. It takes time. The evil can be revealed at once. In revealing it, when you go through the 10 blows, plagues of Egypt, it's the kind that are better to be dead than alive. Why? You have all those pots with all the food you want? No. I'm disconnected from connection between us and the Creator. I can't. That becomes the most important thing to me. Start feeling that structure of Adam Rishon, that is my home. That's what I want to be in. The coming out of Egypt is very, very sharp. It's a very precise, a very special border between being under the ego's control and above it. I have no words. After Egypt, it's something completely different. It's a different Adam.
So if another layer of evil is revealed in me, which I identify in me, and I identify that it is between me and the connection with the friends and the ability to think or bestow upon the Creator, so what am I supposed to do with it? In order to work with it correctly, in order to utilize it correctly.
Only connection. There's nothing to offer. It's the most confident, simple thing right in front of us.
But what does it mean in practice?
In practice, that if you just state you're connected, you succeed. If you reach a state where you really want to connect and you can't, you're even more successful. And then you can run away or uplift. Uplift above the state to the next. What is the next? Disconnection from any corporeal connection between us and feel that we're under the control of the upper force. The Creator comes before us, either fire or the cloud. Okay, Tess.
Moving on to the next part of the lesson. We are reading from the study of the 10 Sefirot, part 1, page 23 in Hebrew, Histaklut Pnimit, chapter 6, item 25. You can send us your questions to kab.tv. Selected questions will be here in the course of the lesson. So again, Talmud 10 Sefirot, part 1, Histaklut Pnimit, in reflection, item 25. The will to receive does not permeate the Ne'etzal except through his own desire to receive of his own choice.
Until the emanator awakens on its own. Until the emanated awakens on its own. Otherwise, it's not considered that the will to receive is determined in the upper one. The created being has to react with an awakening from himself.
Because the Kli is the Shoresh, is the root of darkness, as it is opposite from the Or, it must therefore start to operate slowly, gradually, by way of cause and consequence. This is the meaning of the verse, the waters were conceived and begotten darkness. The darkness is a result of the Or itself, and is operated by it as in conception and birth, meaning of potential and actual. This means that in every expanding Or, the will to receive is necessarily incorporated. However, it is not regarded as Shinui Tzura, disparity of form, before this Ratzon, this desire is clearly set in the Or. The will to receive that is incorporated in the Or by the Ma'atzil, by the emanator, is not enough for that, but the Ne'etzal, the emanated himself, must independently display that will to receive in him in action, meaning of his own choice. This means that he must extend Shefa, abundance, through his own will, more than the measure of the Or of the Hitpashtut, of the expansion in him by the Ma'atzil. After the Ne'etzal, the emanated, is operated by his own choice in increasing the measure of his desire, the yearning and the will to receive become fixed in him, and then the Or can clothe this Kli permanently. It is true that Or and Sof seemingly expands over all four Bechinot, reaching the full measure of the desire by the emanated himself, being Bechinat Daled. That is because he would not go beyond his own Atzmut, his own essence, anyhow, and acquire a name for himself, meaning Ein Sof. However, the Tzura, the form, did not change at all because of the will to receive in his almightiness. And there is no change distinguished there between the Or and the place of the Or, which is the will to enjoy. They are one and the same. It is written in Pirkei Avot that before the Olam was created, there were He is one and His name one. It is indeed difficult to understand this double reference, He and His name. What has His name got to do there before the Olam was created? He should have said, before the Olam was created, He was one. However, This refers to Or Ein Sof, which is prior to the Tzimtzum. Even though there is a place there and a will to receive the abundance, the Shefa, from His essence, it is still without change and differentiation between the Or and the place. He is one, meaning Or Ein Sof. His name one is the will to enjoy that is incorporated there without any change whatsoever. You must understand what our sages implied, that his name is Ratzon, desire in Gematria, meaning the will to enjoy.
So before the world was created, world is Olam, Ha'alama, meaning concealment. He and his name were one, that the light and the desire were connected in such a way we don't understand that unification. It's above everything. And afterwards, still, in the desire, a deficiency started being established. A deficiency. It starts awakening from itself towards the light in order to determine its attitude towards the light, an additional feeling. He himself wants to feel the light. He himself wants to discover him. The desire wants to be like the light and not opposite from it, and so on. Meaning that all these discernments awaken in the desire when the light awakens it endlessly. The discernments awaken by the light bestowing upon the desire some kind of new quality. And the new quality in the desire is called the created being. Because before the light created the desire and filled it as it is, and then there's an equal unity between them, the desire isn't separated from the light. It's like an embryo in its mother's womb. But when some kind of new discernment is established in the desire, that it wants something in addition, doesn't matter which addition, but that addition, we ascribe that to the desire itself. And that addition is what's important, because it awakens on behalf of the desire. The desire feels that it's his. And then we can already speak about the created being. That's it. That the desire to receive isn't determined in the upper one, but by its awakening to receive from its own will. That there is some kind of awakening in itself, except for what the light created in him. And according to that awakening, it can search for its own discernments in the light. A response on behalf of the created being towards the Creator. Keep going. Are there questions about this, please? But not to... Yeah.
How can there be a response which is not from the light?
From the light, but not from the same light that created the desire and filled it. It is from the same light, obviously from the same Creator, but a more inner development that awakens a deficiency on behalf of the created being. Keep going.
Adam 26. All the olamot in the thought of creation are called Or Ein Sof, and the sum total of the receiver there is called Malchut the Ein Sof. It has already been explained regarding the act ends in the preliminary thought that it is the thought of creation that expanded from his atzmut, his essence, in order to delight his creatures. We have learned that in him, the thought and the Or are one and the same thing. It therefore follows that Or Ein Sof, that expanded from his atzmut, from his essence, contains the entire reality before us through the end of the future correction. This is the end of the act, because in him, all the creations are already complete with all the joy that He wished to bestow upon them. This entire reality, in its complete satisfaction, is called Or Ein Sof, and that which contains them is called Malchut the Ein Sof.
Is there a question according to this? No? So he's just determining the way it's defined, the definition.
Chapter 7. Although only Bechinat Dalet was restricted, the Or left the first three Bechinot as well. Item 27. It has already been explained that the middle point, which is the comprehensive point of the thought of creation, namely the will to receive in it, embellished herself to equalize herself with the Ma'atzil more intensely. From the perspective of the Ma'atzil, of the Emanator, there is no Shinui Tzura, there is no disparity of form in his almightiness. However, the point of Ratzon felt it as a kind of indirect extension from his essence, as with the story about the rich man. For that reason, she diminished her Ratzon from the last Bechina, which is the entire will to receive in its Gadlut, so as to increase the Dvekut, adhesion, through a direct extension from his essence. Then the Or was emptied from the entire place, meaning from all 4 degrees that exist in the place. Even though she diminished her desire only from Bechinat Dalet, it is the nature of the spiritual that it is indivisible.
Yes, no? What?
What does it mean? What does it mean that he was empty? The light was emptied from the makom, from the place, from all 4 degrees.
If B'chinat Dalet, from some kind of reason, doesn't receive the light, it's felt that the light has emptied itself from the first 3 discernments that they cause Dalet to receive. That's why if Dalet doesn't receive, they stop from doing their job of passing the light on to Dalet. And B'chinat Dalet, which is the will to receive. And the first 3 discernments are in order to build that will to receive. If the will to receive disappears, stop doing its role, performing its role, also the 3 previous discernment, obviously, that's what it happens to them. That's why light that disappears from Dalet disappear from the first 3 too.
So what does he say? Although she did not diminish her desire, but it is the spiritual nature that...
Because the desire exists in Dalet only. The desire doesn't exist in the first 3 discernments. Doesn't exist. The first 3 discernments, it's discernments that build Dalet. The 4th, there's no will to receive there yet. It's only supporting, bringing something to the will to receive. You understand? That's why it's, if B'chinat Dalet would disappear, they would disappear too after all the 4 discernments came out. If she doesn't receive, or to the extent that she does, the light comes into the first 3.
These B'chinot, is it a creation of the will to receive, those B'chinot?
Yeah, yes.
And then the will to receive is born?
The will to receive is already Malchut, it's the last discernment.
But this is not clear, that the will to receive was created in B'chinat Dalet. There's B'chinat Aleph, B'chinat Bet, B'chinat Gimel. How all of a sudden the will to receive is being born? What is that thing?
What, to go over the 4 phases of direct light again?
No, in general, why? What is the reason for it?
In the light, in Keter, the root, the first discernment, there is light, the will to bestow, and some kind of black point, dot, the will to receive. Where did it come from? I don't know. Existence from absence. the light bestowing upon that black point, that will to receive, starts developing it. By bestowing upon it, that will to receive, that point starts developing by the light. Its development suddenly turns out that it's something gradual and different. First it develops as Bechina Aleph, then Bet, Gimel, and Dalet, and stops developing there. Why? Because she reaches the desire to receive, to feel, to enjoy all the light that created it to start with. And there's nothing more. Meaning there's a desire for the light. That's how the light developed it, and that's how it reacts back upon the light. Keep going.
Item 28. Afterwards, the kav of Or, the line of light, extended once more from the first three Bechinot, and Bechina Dalet remained a vacant halal. After that, Or and Sof, Nimshach, extended once more to the place that was emptied, but did not fill the entire place in all four Bechinot, but only three Bechinot, as was the Ratzon, the desire of the point of Tzimtzum. Hence, the middle point that has been restricted remained empty and hollow, because the Or illuminated only as low as Bechina Daled, but not all the way, and Or and Sof stopped there. We will henceforth explain the matter of the Hitkalelut, incorporation of the Bechinot in one another, in the upper worlds. You can now see that the four Bechinot are integrated in one another in such a way that within Bechina Dalet too there are also all four Bechinot. Thus, Or and Sof reached the first three Bechinot in Bechina Dalet, and she alone remained empty and without Or.
So here we're already speaking about how Bechina Dalet felt it once saw the light. So something takes place in there that is called shame, that she can't stand herself doing that, so she restricts herself, and the light is departed. As a result, the light departed all the first three discernments. Now, Bechina Dalet isn't behaving as it was, that it's entirely receiving, but by not wanting to fulfill its previous role, it's supporting the new role. What does that mean? What is that new role? Just as the emanator relates to Bechina Dalet through the first three discernments, that it shows the quality of bestowal there, in the same way she wants to show it the measure of its bestowal towards him. That's called that she receives the light in the first three discernments. Not in Gimel Bechina, there's nothing to receive there. But the style the emanator works on her, it's for an example for her now. That style of bestowal towards the emanator. Think about it. Think. There's a lot about this. Yes.
So, when the light returns to the upper three Bechinot, by that she bestows back to him?
The light returns back to the first three discernment. It's the way Bechina Dalet operates. Except for her, there's no one who can operate. The first Bechina Dalet was stopped from being a vessel of reception because she doesn't want to receive anymore. She wants to be like the bestower, like the creator, because the light that filled her gave her such a feeling. And that's why she restricts herself on receiving as she was. And now she wants to start being like the creator. To the extent she can be like him, she works. That is called that she receives in the first three previous discernments. She doesn't really receive anything there. There's no vessels of reception there, but that's the way we call it. That's just as the bestower bestows to her. Now she wants to resemble him to some extent, whatever she can.
Did she do that, or is it the light operating on her, or?
Obviously, it's the light doing it, but what she feels, we can't really speak about Malchut Ein Sof. But afterwards, yes, it's according to recognition of evil, the knowing the quality of Binah that the created being receives, then becomes independent. We'll study that. That's about our work already.
Another question. We should understand the general process, which understand, and I need why every action happens. Should I understand why, or just flow with the process?
In this exalted place, we can't really philosophize about it, but actually we should understand this too, yes, as much as you can. It doesn't have to stop our work. This is separate and that's separate. But as much as we want to understand the actions of the light, it helps us correct the vessel. Okay, keep going.
Chapter 8. Item 29. Chokhmah is called Or, and the Chasadim is called Maim, water. Binah is called Maim Elyonim, upper water, and Malchut is called Maim Tachtonim, lower water.
Meaning, from the four phases of direct light, we have light in Bchina Aleph, Or in Bchina Gimel, Maim, which is water in Bchina Bet, and in Bchina Dalet. Clear, right? Keep going.
Item 29. Now we shall explain the meaning of the four bechinot of cause and consequence necessary to complete the tzura of the will to receive. It is written, the waters were conceived and begotten darkness. It means that there are two bechinot of Or in Atzilut. The first bechina is called Or, namely Or Chokhmah. And the second bechina is called Maim, water, which is Chasadim. The first bechina extends from above downwards without any assistance from the lower one. The second bechina extends with the help of the inferior. Hence the name Maim, water, for it is the nature of the Or to be above, and the nature of the Maim, water, to dwell below. There are also two bechinot within the Maim. Upper Maim, by Bechina Bet in the four Bechinot, and lower Maim by Bechina Daled in the four Bechinot.
Okay, this is how it's called. It's the way the light expands and through Chokhmah and Zeranpin, and the expansion of Chasadim is through Bet and Daled. Light of Chokhmah, Aleph and Gimel, light of Chasadim, Bet and Daled. Keep going.
Item 3. Explanation of Itpashtut, expansion of Or Ein Sof into four Bechinot in order to uncover the Kli, which is the will to receive. For that reason, any Itpashtut, any expansion of Or Ein Sof consists of 10 Sefirot. It is because the Ein Sof, which is the Shoresh, the root, and the Ma'atzil, emanator, is called Keter. The Or of the Itpashtut itself is called Chokhmah, being the entire measure of the Itpashtut of the Or from above, from Ein Sof. It has already been said that the will to receive is incorporated in every pashtut of Or, in any expansion of Or from above. However, the tzura of the Ratzon does not actually become apparent before the desire to extend Or awakens in the Ne'etzal more than the measure of his hitpashtut. Thus, because the potential will to receive is incorporated immediately in the Or of the Hitpashtut, light of expansion, the Or is compelled to bring the potential to the actual. Consequently, the Or awakens to extend additional abundance, shefa, more than the measure of its Hitpashtut from Ein Sof. It is then that the will to receive actually appears and acquires the new form in Shinui Tzura, disparity of form. That makes it darker than the Or, for it gained aviyut, coarseness, by the Chidush Tzura, renewal of form. This part that has become more coarser, is called Binah. As in the verse, I am Binah, understanding, power, gvura, is mind. Indeed, bina is a part of chokhmah, meaning the very ore of Hitpashtut and Sof. However, because she increased her ratzon and drew more shefa than the measure of her Hitpashtut in Ein Sof, she thus acquired Shinui Tzura, disparity of form, and grew a little more coarser Av than the Or. In that manner she acquires her own name, namely Sefirat Bina. The essence of the additional Shefa that she extended from Ein Sof by the power of the Hitgabrut, overcoming of Ratzon, is called Or Chasadim, or upper Maim. That is because this Or does not extend directly from Ein Sof like Or Chokhmah. Instead, it is assisted by the emanated who intensified the Ratzon, consequently acquiring a separate name, or Chasadim, or Maim. Now you find that the Sephirah of Bina consists of three features, Bechinot of Or. The first Bechina, or Atzmut of Bina, which is a part of Or Chokhmah. The second Bechina is the Itabut, thickening, and the Shinui Tzura, disparity of form in her, acquired by the intensification of the Ratzon. The third Bechina is the light of Chasadim that came to her through her own Hamshacha, extension from Ein Sof. However, that still does not complete the entire vessel of reception, since Bina is essentially Chokhmah, who is indeed transcendent, being a direct Hitpashtut from Or Ein Sof. Consequently, only the root, the shoresh for the vessels of reception, and the operator of the operation of the Kli appeared in Bina. Afterwards, that same Or Chasadim that she extended through the power of her Hitgabrut, overcoming, extended from her once more, and some minute illumination of the light of Chokhmah was added. This Hitpashtut of Or Chasadim is called Zer Anpin or Chagat. This Or of Hitpashtut, expansion, also increased its desire to extend a new Shefa, a new abundance, that is greater than the measure of the illumination, Ha'ara of Chokhmah, in its Hitpashtut from Bina. This Hitpashtut, this expansion, is also regarded as two Bechinot, because the Or of Hitpashtut itself is called Zer Anpin or Vak, while the Hitgabrut in it is called Malchut. This is how we come by the 10 Sefirot. Keter is Ein Sof. Chokhmah is the Or of Hitpashtut, expansion from Ein Sof. Bina is the Or Chokhmah that intensified in order to increase the abundance by which it gained Aviut. Zer Anpin, which consists of Chagat Nehi, is Or the Chasadim, with Ha'arat, with illumination of Chokhmah that expands from Bina. And Malchut is Hitgabrut Bet, the second overcoming, to add Chokhmah more than exists in Zer Anpin.
Questions? We spoke about this a lot, but every time there's something to add and start over.
We're talking about Bechina Bet and Daled as overcoming Hitgabrut, but still we say that these are Nukvot, females. They do overcoming, and we say that Malchut is Nukva, female, and Nukva is a deficiency, whole, not overcoming.
Why is a deficiency not overcoming? And what do you overcome by having a bigger deficiency, specifically that? The abundance is in Ein Sof. It all depends on the deficiency.
So why Zer Anpin is called?
Try now to want the light of Ein Sof.
This is exactly what I'm asking. So why Zer Anpin is called Zachar, male, from the word overcoming, and not the Nekeva, man, from the word to overcome? Because Malchut does the overcoming, not Zer Anpin.
These are two different things. Whoever has the deficiency is called Nukva, from the word deficient, or Nekeva, or female. He who is bestowing is called a male. That's on one side. On the other side, Bina bestows, yeah. So why is she called a female, the upper Ima?
That's what I'm asking.
Because towards the lower ones, she is called Nukva, a deficiency. She has a new deficiency born. And the deficiency is Nekeva, female.
But she does the overcoming. Gever comes from the word Hitgabrut. Male is from Hitgabrut, overcoming.
Right.
So why then?
Oh, now I understand. Okay. That comes from above downward and below upward. So obviously every overcoming is in Malchut and the Masachim and the restrictions.
So the shoresh, the root of the females is Hitgabrut, overcoming.
The root of the female overcoming for the additional abundance. For the additional abundance. So you tell me, someone who wants to receive more, is he called a male or a female?
The way I understand it,
so you understand there's one thing and an opposite. So relax. Think who you are. More. Yes.
is it true to say that there's an awakening from the light and the Kli?
Obviously.
So what's the difference between the two?
The light, the vessel only awakens by the light. All of the awakening is in the light because it has a goal, it has the first point of development and the final point of development. That's why the whole plan is in the light. The vessel, according to that plan, awakens. Where does it awaken from? Obviously from the light. There's nothing else besides him. As much as the vessel is given an ability to be independent, so the vessel can resemble the light. That is it. That's the whole plan of creation, of development. Only to the extent of the ability to be independent. To be independent is by restriction, masach, reflected light. The Kli can uplift above itself and start working like the light. Where does that come from? From the light. Where is that freedom of actions? There is no freedom of actions. Just to see that there's nothing else besides him. The freedom in the actions is because there's klipot, two systems that come from the Creator, and between those two systems, on the middle line, you can determine a relative independence, but not in the will to receive, not in the will to bestow. There is no freedom, there no independence, no created being. The created being that assembles himself from the two on the middle line. No, let's keep reading. Where? 31. Please.
Item 31. The four bechinot in the Ratzon are the four letters of Havaya, which are Kachab Tum. Kachab Tum is Keter Chochma Bina Tiferet Malchut. The four otiyot of the four-letter name, the tip of the Yud, is Ein Sof, meaning the operating force in the thought of creation, which is to delight his creatures, namely the Kli of Keter. The Yud is Chochma, meaning Bechina Aleph, which is the actual in the potential that is contained in the Or of Itpashtut, expansion of Ein Sof. The first Hey is Bina, meaning Bechina Bet, which is how the potential becomes actual, meaning the Or of Chochma that became more Av, coarser, from Chochma. Vav is Zer Anpin, or Chagat Nehi, meaning the Hitpashtut, the expansion of Or Chasadim that came about through Bina, meaning its B'china Gimel, the force for the performance of the operation. The lower Hey in Havaya is Malchut, meaning B'china Daled. It is the manifestation of the complete act in the vessel of reception that has intensified to extend more shefa, more abundance, than its measure of itpashtut, expansion in Bina. That completes the tzura of the will to receive, and the or that closes its kli, being the will to receive, that is completed only in his fourth bechina and not before. Now you can easily see that there isn't an or in the Elyonim or the Tachtonim that is not arranged under the four-letter name.
Otherwise, you can't reveal him. You don't know.
Being the four bechinot. Without it, the will to receive that should be in every or is incomplete. For it is this will that is the place and the measurement of that or.
Questions? Meaning the sermons in the direct light must be in the light in order for us to even speak about the created being, someone who's discovering the light. If there is no Dalet B'chinot, you can't discover anything. What's going on there?
Can I ask about previous parts?
Yeah.
A student is asking, why did the light of Ein Sof return to a place that was emptied? It's in item 23.
Because that's the nature of the light that wants to fill the desire. Keep going.
Pasha from Moscow is asking, how what we read goes along with the law of opposite value of lights and vessels. What we read in item 25.
What was there? What does he see there in
27? Sorry.
The light departed from the first three discernments. Then when the light returns, it's already in the three discernments and not in Dalet, because Dalet was restricted, and the order, the way she receives, is called Gimel B'chinot. But obviously, Dalet is the one working. Keep going.
Item 32. The otiyot, letters, Yud and Vav de Havaya are thin because they are only potential bechinot. This might surprise us, since Yud implies Chokhmah and the Hey implies Bina, and the entire Atzmut, essence of the Or that exists in 10 Sefirot, is in the Sefirah of Chokhmah, while Bina, Zer Anpin and Malchut are merely levushim, clothings, compared to Chokhmah. Thus, Chokhmah should have taken the greater letter in the four-letter name.
Because Keter is a thought of creation, or the light that we have to insert into creation to give it to her, for her to develop and fill itself, that's Chokhmah. So Chokhmah is the most important. It includes the light and the vessel and everything that will be revealed.
The thing is that the otiyot of the four-letter name do not imply and indicate the amount of O in Ein Sof. Instead, they indicate measurement of impact on the kli. The white in the parchment of the scroll of Torah implies the or, and the black, being the otiyot, the letters in the scroll of Torah, indicates the quality of the kelim. Thus, because Keter is only the Bechina of Shoresh, root, the Shoresh, to the Kli, it is therefore implied only in the tip of the Yud. Chokhmah, which is the force that has not actually appeared, is implied by the smallest among the Otiyot, namely the Yud. Bina, where the force is carried out in action, is indicated by the wider letter, the Hey. Zer Anpin is only the force of the performance of the act, and is therefore implied by a long and narrow letter, being the Vav. The thinness indicates that the essence of the Kli is as yet concealed and remains in potential, and its length indicates that at the end of its expansion appears the complete Kli. Chokhmah did not manage to manifest the entire Kli in her Hitpashtut, in her expansion, for Binah is an incomplete Kli, but is the operator of the Kli. The leg of the Yud is short, initiating that it is still short, meaning did not manifest the force in it, and through its expansion the entire Kli. Malchut is also implied by the letter Hey, like Binah, which is a wide letter, appearing in its complete tzura. It should not surprise you that Binah and Malchut have the same otiyot, because in the Olam Tikkun, in the world of correction, they are indeed similar and lend their kelim to one another, as the verse says, so they too went.
So we'll learn about it. It's not simple because it includes all of creation from beginning to Ogmal Tikkun in there. Then we can see this Havaya that's revealed and is truly realizing its form, and all those letters are filled in their interpretations, meaning in the secondary letters and lights, that it's the matter of the five worlds and all the fillings within them. So the letters, even though for now they are, it seems like this artificial symbol, but if you go into all these intricacies, you can understand it from the next parts to come. But the main thing is from starting to work, you start feeling what's this shape, what is that shape, or from above downward, or left and right, right to left, in which way, or diagonally is the parsa, or in a circle, which is Ein Sof, in all kinds of other forms. The way these letters are established, because all we have is three letters, Yud, Hey, and Vav. The Kutzah Shel Yud, the point of the Yud, belongs to Yud, and the lower Hey is also like the first Hey. So we have three letters. Why these three letters build all of the Havaya? Is that enough? Yeah, it is. We don't need more than the light of Chokhmah and light of Chasadim, that from the Yud we have the expansion in light of Chokhmah and response in light of Chasadim, and their integration together. That's it. That's the whole matter of the otiyot, the letters. What?
The three letters of Havaya, don't they build Yud Vav Daled?
Are they built from Yud Vav Daled? Is it? Are
they built from Yud Vav Daled, these letters?
Yud, Vav, and which Daled? Oh, instead of Hey, that it includes Daled? No, but we say, obviously it's like that, but we say still that the letters are Yud, Vav, and Hey. Hey, listen. Hey symbolizes the light of Chasadim, of mercy and Binah. Vav symbolizes the expansion of Chokhmah through Chasadim, and from those two lights we have all of creation. That's it.
What's the difference between the lower Hey and the upper Hey? They're not built differently?
He's telling you it will be revealed later on. When Malchut wants to resemble Binah, it must receive all of the light of Chokhmah to resemble Chokhmah, to resemble Binah, because the light can appear in the Malchut and bestow in Bina, like Bina, only if it receives everything. It's an expression of Malchut that Bina is willing, it's giving everything. She has nothing to give. Malchut, in order to give everything, must receive everything. But the form of its expression is the letter Hey. From all the bottom of the heart. One is giving from all the heart, the other must receive from the bottom of the heart. And from that, give. Meaning receive in order to bestow.
The form of the Hey doesn't change? The structure of the Hey?
No, doesn't change. Doesn't change. Because the external form, that's how it is. You can say the first Hey comes from above, from the emanator, and the lower Hey comes from below, from the emanated. And there's many games in this, and
the value of the quality of it.
Right, there's a big difference in the intensity, but that's how it is. We'll learn about it. Okay, we're not going to read anymore, so... Yes, Itzik.
There is an expansion from above downward, and there is an expansion, Itpashtut, of light of Chasadim.
Right and left, correct.
So what is this diagonal line? Where does it come from, and why is it a diagonal?
It's both participating together. Chokhmah and Chasadim. The light of they come from here, Chasadim only from below. That's why it's diagonal. It's a sign of the Parsa. The participation of the two forces or two lights together in one structure. Where can it take place? In Bchinat Daled, that is below the tabu, the general tabu. That there in the upper half is Chasadim, the lower half can be the light of Chokhmah if there will be a Masach. So for now it's diagonal. He writes a lot about it. We'll read about the diagonal. So we just have to understand that what we have here, we see as much as he didn't explain it, because we gradually receive it and explain it from the study itself. The main thing from the inner work, because there's not much to explain here. Things that a lot of words and less understanding if he would explain it more. So he understands that we need to shorten things up here in this place, and whoever understands will. More questions? None. So, still you have some more time, so read next.
Spiritual movement means renewal of Shinui Tzura, disparity of form. Item 33. We should still scrutinize the meaning of time and movement that we come across in almost every word in this wisdom. Indeed, you should know that spiritual movement is not like tangible motion from one location to another. It refers to a renewal of form. We denominate every Chidush Tzura, renewal of form, by the title movement. It is that Chidush, meaning that Shinui Tzura, that was renewed in the spiritual, unlike its general preceding form in that spiritual. It is regarded as having been divided and distanced from that spiritual. It is considered to have come out with its own name and authority, by which she became exactly like a corporal essence that some part departed from and moved about to a different place. For that reason, the Chidush Tzura, the renewal of form, is referred to as movement.
Clear, right? Meaning every change in the will to receive that it causes in some kind of difference in the light, all these things are called movement, motion. Obviously, there are no changes like in this world, that nothing changes but only changes a place. In spirituality, a change of the essential change in something means that it changed its place. Because the place is up or down, meaning closer or further away from the emanator. That's why only in the essential changes within the created being, he changes his place. Clear? What?
We're saying that our study should be in order to feel and become one.
Yeah.
So can we say that the motion is always the entrance and exits to this place?
Motion is towards one, more and more and more. Every day to scrutinize, none else besides him, the more he understands or is in control of all of my world. As much as I recognize him in everything. And more?
34. Spiritual time means a certain number of renewals of Chinui Tzura, disparity of form, that stem from one another. Former and later mean cause and consequence. With respect to the spiritual definition of time, you must understand that time is essentially defined by as only a sensation of movements. Our imagination pictures and devises a certain number of consecutive movements, which it discriminates one by one and translates them like a certain amount of time. Thus, if one had been in a state of complete rest with one's environment, he would not even be aware of the concept of time. So it is in spirituality. A certain amount of renewals of form is considered as spiritual movements. Those are intermingled in one another by way of cause and consequence, and they are called time in spirituality. Also, before and after are always referred to as cause and consequence.
Questions? Meaning it's clear to us, right? That time is number of changes that we have in the created being, in the will to receive, right? And only these changes are attained as time. You're asking about this? Yeah?
Why, if I am in wholeness with the society, I don't feel time?
Because you have nothing to change in. You feel that everything's perfect. That's it.
But what's the connection?
What? You heard the definition of time?
Yes.
Changing of the state. If you're swallowed in the environment,
I don't do anything.
you're not doing anything, you're in control of you, and you're full. There's no time.
I'm doing nothing. I'm just like that.
Yeah, and time stops. Then time stops. Try putting yourself, entering some pleasure, and just stop. Freeze. And you'll feel that time disappeared. Try it. Okay, so what are we doing? We're going on? Maybe we'll just end this already, no?
Chapter 10. The entire substance that is ascribed to the emanated is the will to receive. Any addition in it is ascribed to the matzil, emanator. 35. Know that the distinguished will to receive in the ne'etzal is his kli. Know also that it is the general substance that is ascribed to the ne'etzal, emanated. It follows that the entire existence besides him is ascribed to the matzil.
Meaning just the will to receive is the emanated. The rest is the emanator. As light and vessel, the will to receive meaning a deficiency. If there's no deficiency, there's no created being.
The will to receive is the first surah, the first form of every essence. We define the first surah as substance because we have no attainment in the essence. 36. We perceive the will to receive as an incident, as a tzura in the essence. Yet, how do we perceive it as the substance of the essence? Indeed, it is the same with essence that are near to us. It is our conduct to denominate the first tzura in the essence by the name the first substance in the essence, because we have no attainment and perception whatsoever in any substance, as our five senses are completely unfit for it. The sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch offer the scrutinizing mind merely abstract forms of incidents of the essence, formulating through the corporation with our senses. For example, if we take even the smallest microscopic atoms in the smallest elements of any essence, separated through a chemical process, they too would merely be abstract forms that appear that way to the eye. More accurately, they are distinguished and examined by the ways of the will to receive and be received that we find in them. We can utilize these operations to distinguish the separate the various atoms to the very first matter of that essence. However, even then, they would be no more than forces in the essence, not a substance. Thus you find that even in corporality, we haven't any way by which to understand the first substance, except by assuming that the first tzura, the first form, is the first substance that carries all other incidents and forms that come afterwards. Indeed, it is all the more so in upper worlds, where tangible and fictional do not abide.
In short, the will to receive that is established in the light until it doesn't receive its own desire, that it's standing on its own. It's not called matter. Maybe the first matter, the raw matter, but the created being is the one who reveals the matter of its own, the will of its own. Before that, we either have pre-forms that we talk about that come before our matter, or the essence, which we have no grasp in. Something that we can't perceive or grasp in our will to receive. Meaning, our business, what we engage in, our study, our research is only in the desire to receive. And
moving on to the next part of the lesson, but before we do, let's sing a song together.
צריך שכל איש ידע שבו יש נר שדולק ואין נרו שלו כנר חברו. צריך שכל איש יבין שעליו לעמול ולגלות את אור הנר ברבים להאיר לבבות. רק ניצוץ לא ידליק את אור האהבה, אבל יחד תהיה לכם קומה של קדושה. רק בינינו נדליק את אור האהבה לשלבת גדולה. שכל איש ידע שבו יש נר שדולק ונרו שלו כנר חברו. צריך שכל איש יבין שעליו לעמול ולגלות את אור הנר ברבים להאיר לבבות. רק ניצוץ לא ידליק את אור האהבה, אבל יחד תהיה לכם קומה של קדושה. רק בינינו נדליק את אור האהבה לשלבת גדולה. רק ניצוץ לא ידליק את אור האהבה, אבל יחד תהיה כאן קומה של קדושה. רק בינינו
השיעור מבוסס על מאמרים מהספר כתבי בעל הסולם. את הספר ניתן להוריד באתר קבלה לעם, kab.co.il.
שלום, אנחנו לומדים את מאמר ויהי בימים
Hello, we're reading, and it came to pass in the course of those many days. It's in Shamati 159 on page 314. You can go to Kabbalah.info where you can find the article and send questions.
אז שוב אנחנו לומדים מתוך מאמרי שמעתי, מאמר קנ"ט ויהי בימים הרבים ההם.
Shamati, article 159, and it came to pass in the course of those many days.
As part of our preparation for the Passover, we're going to be reading this article. Please.
And by the way, in Kabbalah for the student, it's in page, actually, Baal Sulam, page 314. And it came to pass in the course of those many days that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sighed by reason of the bondage, and they cried, and their cry came up unto God by reason of the bondage. And God heard their groaning. This means that they suffered so much that they could not bear it any longer. And they so pleaded with prayer that their cry came up unto God. But we can see that they were saying, would what we had when we sat by the flesh pots, when we did eat bread to the full. And also they said, we remember the fish which we would eat in Egypt for the knot, and the cucumbers and the melons and the leeks and the onions and the garlic. And the thing is that indeed they were very fond of the work in Egypt. This is the meaning of but mingled themselves with the nations and learned their work. It means that if Israel are under the dominion of a certain nation, that nation controls them, and they cannot retire from their dominion. Thus, they tasted sufficient flavor in that work and could not be redeemed. So what did the Creator do? And the king of Egypt died, meaning they had lost this servitude. Thus they could no longer work. And they understood that if there is no perfection of the mochin, the servitude is also incomplete. Hence, and the children of Israel sighed by reason of the bondage. Meaning, the work means that they did not suffice for the work, that they had no liveliness in the servitude. And this is the meaning of the king of Egypt died. That all the dominations of the king of Egypt, which he was providing for and nourishing, had died. This is why they had room for prayer, and they were immediately salvaged. And afterwards, when they walked in the desert and came to a state of katnut, smallness, they craved the servitude that they had prior to the death of the king of Egypt.
Clear? Questions? Yes, Nezi?
It's written that they were under servitude, and then the Creator heard their groaning. Meaning the groaning wasn't from deficiency for spirituality, but from corporeal work.
They wanted to remain in servitude. It was very good and fine for them. We work good, we eat meat, enjoy life, everything is fine. Really, what's missing? Nothing's missing. What does the Creator do? He starts to change their desire, where they start to ask, for what? Why? This is life. This is the goal. Why are we living? I don't want this life. And so on. Why did this happen this way? A person changes. Just like in our times now. It's the person that changes. What's bad for us? Look, the world could supply right now for each and every one abundance. But you see how we're spoiling it. It's as if we're spoiling it. The upper providence is operating in us and is spoiling us completely, corrupting us completely. We can't enjoy life. We can give birth to children, have a family. Look, with all the ability that we have today, if we had it 100 years ago, if humanity had what we have today 100 years ago, what? It would be the Garden of Eden. But no, there's no satisfaction. That's called, and the king of Egypt died. That egoistic desire that was there before, where I enjoyed life, work, enjoying work, family, children, health, vacation, everything's fine. What? It's all worked out. What's missing? I have no flavor in life, no meaning in life. That's called that the king of Egypt died. The will to receive becomes bigger, not in size. It doesn't grow in quantity. It's always in quality that it grows. It's changed in its quality. It demands something more superior than before that. You're giving him a pot with meat and a pot with fish and cakes and sweets and vacations, trips, and what? Dollars. What else do we have? Whatever you want. Huh? Kayaks. Okay, I said we're going for a trip. Well, whatever you want. And what at the end? Never has there been such a beautiful thing. And look what's happening. Those 70% or who knows how many are in despair, are in depression, drugs, wanting to disconnect from life, the number of suicide. Now anyone who buys a gun goes and kills people. Where? From what? From the Creator. He is corrupting our will to receive, and we're not satisfied with life. We're not capable of filling our desire with anything, and therefore it's better my death than my life.
Okay, so it's revealed and it's being revealed again and it grows. What can we do?
First of all, we need to see the purposefulness in this, that it comes from above. It's the development of nature. We can't resist this. You can't in any possible way complete it, complement it, compensate for it. You can't. You can't correct something here. You can't take some pill that'll calm you down, or tranquilizer, or do anything else. It simply comes as a blow, but this blow, like here, like it's written, and the king of Egypt died. They worked in a very nice way. They really enjoyed the 7 years of satiation because they felt that it's 7 years of satiation. Do you think that in the 7 years of hunger they had less? They had no less. But they felt like they had nothing, that it's hunger. Because they couldn't fill their will to receive. Well, that's it. Wonderful. Now I have one more. Yeah.
Rav, quel est le lien entre le fait que les enfants d'Israël ont pleuré à Dieu et le roi d'Égypte est mort?
What is the connection between the sons of Israel are crying to the Creator and the death of the king of Egypt?
So again, I'm saying to you, it's the same thing. Don't get into all kinds of fine little details that we have to scrutinize in our work. The fact that you're not receiving satisfaction now from your will to receive is called that your will to receive dies. That's called that the king of Egypt dies. Well,
why does he say that the king of Egypt died and that there's room for prayer?
Because you have nothing to do. You see that you simply are not capable to revitalize yourself. You remain in despair and depression. All you have is to maybe smoke some, a joint. Okay. Or something else, yes. To get some injections already. Or alcohol, You're not capable, meaning you're not capable of getting normal pleasures, to go for a trip, food, family, vacation, television, something. You're not capable. You feel that all of that is simply, I'm dead. Your will to receive is not getting filled. And then, what remains for you? You cry out. What are you crying out? You want to go back to the previous situation. You don't want anything. You don't want to advance forward, something. No. Rather, where are the fulfillments I had beforehand? Even in the desert when they were after that, after the reception of the Torah, they would come down in such descents that they would scream, where is that state that we had in Egypt? Do you think they didn't have in the desert pots of meat? There was no pleasure in it. They couldn't fill themselves because desert is considered that even more and more of a will to receive that is bigger and bigger, and it's dry. You can't fill it. Yes?
What's the goal of entering Egypt?
The goal of going into Egypt is to enjoy the will to receive. Yes? They just didn't understand that enjoying the will to receive can be done specifically by connecting.
But I'm asking about the goal of the Creator when He placed us in Egypt. Is that to bring us to a state of feeling death?
Along the way, yes, of course, where the will to receive in order to receive is called dead. And then from necessity, you say, well, let it be in order to bestow. I have to live.
So it's a plan of the Creator. It's a process.
Yes? What do you think? All of a sudden you start to receive some desire to bestow and to love others and all that? No way. The will to receive dies, but against it, it leads you to bestow. Because there's no choice.
No.
Yes.
He says that and the days came to pass in the course of those days, the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sighed by reason of the bondage, and they cried, and their cry came unto God by reason of the bondage. And God heard. Who's hearing them?
Probably the Creator.
But you don't feel it.
That doesn't matter. You don't feel, but He doesn't hear.
And then?
And then the result is that from day to day you feel worse.
So He hears me, and then that's what He does.
So He's explaining to you in this short article. What is He explaining? Where do the people of Israel siphon the work? From Him doing this to them.
They don't have the completeness of the mochin, therefore they don't have complete servitude.
Yes, because they understood that what they had beforehand, where they were servants to their will to receive, they were simply dead. They were not existing. Because the will to receive is like a machine which you put a deficiency into, and it will do anything to get a fulfillment. You put a deficiency into it, and He does everything to get fulfillment. On behalf of the creature, the will to receive, there is no free movement. There's nothing. It carries out what it's like a machine. You put the data into it, and it works. You don't put the data, it doesn't work. That's it. So there's no creature here. The Creator wants to bring the creature to a state in which it will function on its own, from within itself. From within itself can only be if it will be included from both forces, the force of reception and the force of bestowal. And then between them, he'll be able to build the intention in order to bestow, and then there'll be him and the work above him. That's what we need to learn how to do. But then only the creature will exist. Beforehand, he doesn't exist. He's in the level of still vegetative and animal. He's under the characteristics of nature. Nature manages him completely. The fact that he thinks that he's alive, it's like a dog, a cat, a cow. These are all just responses of the matter, of the will to receive. The instinctive response of the will to receive is not considered life, independent life.
So what is that? That it says that all the dominion of the king of Egypt that nourished them died, and they have no.
Yes, because they died. They have no more pleasure in their will to receive. Look what happens. Look, once again, let's say 50 years ago. Let's say, yes, if your parents and you, the little child, were to receive what you have today. It's like, of course. Well, where would you be living?
No, I had a little radio transistor. It took me 3 years to get. And my wife wants this mobile phone at 4,000 shekels. It's a war of the worlds, and she gets it eventually.
Yeah, of course she gets it.
The time is different, and people don't appreciate things.
Okay, well, we understand you're crying.
Yeah.
So, meaning, what has changed? What's changed is the will to receive that doesn't enjoy the previous fulfillment. That's it. So what? That's the form of advancement.
So we advanced nicely. Everything is there. Nothing is missing.
But there is hunger.
Hunger for what?
It's not enough. Is your girl satisfied?
Of course not. She wants the phone, iPhone 10. 8 is not enough.
I don't understand that.
You know, it's this culture that they think that if we'll buy another new thing, they'll be in the society. Tell me, why do they steal so much money if there's no fulfillment? There is fulfillment.
They think that by that they'll get some kind of fulfillment. Because they're stealing $1 billion, they get a fulfillment in $100. That's how it is. The feeling of fulfillment is, yesterday I stole so much, today I don't even feel that I have it. It's really like that. Where do all these billionaires have the ability to continue? Because each time the will to receive is innovated, it's renewed. How much does he have? Factories, ships, I don't know what. He doesn't feel it.
When will they get it that money is not everything? When will it happen? Suddenly he discovers that it doesn't reach anything.
The Creator can't do that, if you could speak in such a way, because that's what the world exists on for the time being. The world exists on that. And can you imagine yourself, if everyone enters into the point where money isn't worth anything, what will move the world? How will people exist? How will they connect between them? For what will they work? For what will they live? It's for the time being we have that concealment from above, where we don't see death before us. No. The main thing is food, sex, family, money, honor, and knowledge. That's it. What else do you have? Oh, soon you're going to die. No, that's the main thing. It's great salvation. It's considered that the king of Egypt hasn't died yet. And then, again, the people of Israel side, they're for the time being in such a state where they want to go back, just like in the desert, they want to go back to the previous state. I do everything and you have to fill me. That's it. That's how it is. So what else? What other questions? Yes?
What
is, and they learn from their actions?
They'll intermingle with their will to receive the worst desires possible, and they'll learn from those deeds what else they can enjoy still. The exodus from Egypt it can't be till the final scrutiny, and the people of Israel side from the work, until they understood that they can't in any possible way enjoy any more from the ego. And then they're willing to do anything. Because I'm telling you, it's a very simple game here. It's this against that. It has to be a very simple scrutiny here. You have no more to enjoy in your will to receive here. When can we do that? If we're in a group, if we're drawing the reforming light, it advances the recognition of evil. He advances the recognition of evil, and that's it. But the process is the same process.
And they had to understand that with this new deficiency, they have a way to live.
What deficiency? For spirituality?
No, that's the question. What was the deficiency now? When they said, oh, we used to eat this and this and that, they feel they have a deficiency, but it has an incorrect form. They don't know what to ask for. Is that?
Because the deficiency is already new, for a higher degree. And for what? We don't know. That's the ache that I'm... what else can I enjoy? What else can I do? We don't know. Maybe it's best. Look at what's happening in the world.
And how?
There's no such thing between slaves. There wasn't such to finish with life. Of course, they wanted to live. Today. What animal wants to die? Tell me, what animal? One that lives instinctively. None of them. Look how much they fight to continue to live. And a person himself. Yeah. There's no other animal. There are special suicides. We need to understand where it comes from. It comes from root and branch. It comes specifically from people. That's why all of a sudden dolphins are thrown on the beach, and there's such things. But that's not from them themselves. We will learn that. Okay? Yes.
I want to ask about the process of Egypt. Egypt is a state where you enter and you spend a period of time in, or you have Egypt in every stage?
Every stage along the way you have a small Egypt, but the state of Egypt itself you have to go through. You have to go through Egypt in a way that is fundamental, foundational. Until you feel that connection in the 10 egoistically does not work anymore. We have to start with that connection. But these are very adjacent stages. We can discover that really quickly.
So, what is egoistic connection? Because up until now, I can look at...
Why? The way it is now. The way it is now. But do you want to connect or not? Let's say you do. You wish you would want. And if you would want, then why? Huh?
There's no choice.
There's no choice. Meaning to benefit your state, to make it better, in other words. And to get something, to profit something. That's called that we're entering 7 years of satiation, where we're going to profit something.
But you're not getting anything.
You do. You get rewarded. You profit. The next world, going towards the revelation of godliness. But what drives you, your stimulus, is the will to receive. The reward. Yes.
Now, each time we enter Passover, I see just how much I'm not there.
Because you don't want to start with connection. You don't want to enter Egypt. You are really like the sons of Jacob, other than Joseph.
For example, we've had a Congress. We didn't have a connection there when we did the Congress. It's not even an egoistic connection?
It's not. It is, but it's still. Give the example of the 10 that is truly operating in such a way where there's a strong connection and everything, like a commando in the military.
So what is the essence of the egoistic connection?
That we want to attain in our mutual support everything that Rabash writes. We're doing it without any compromises, just in order to attain the Creator. Adhesion for the Creator, it doesn't matter what, but you depict Him for the time being necessarily in egoistic terms because you're Him, that's you.
In all the states that we're going through, let's say we're reading Rabash articles, there are things that come up for you. Does it mean that we're to some extent in Egypt?
There still isn't. No, that's not. That's in Egypt somewhat. You're nevertheless hearing about what you need to do, but it's still kind of like where Joseph tells his brothers, and they don't agree with him.
When do they agree? I mean, what's the inversion that suddenly you agree with Yosef?
When you feel that there's no choice, that there's a prophet here, then they all enter. When there's hunger in such a way, you don't feel that it will give us some kind of fruit. That's as much as we're in it already, we have to enter connection.
So what's the prophet that you're going for?
In connection, and only in connection, we reveal the next world.
Why is it better?
You want it. Explain that to yourself. You want this. Okay? Do we have some announcements? Yes?
We're happy to mention that beyond the intro lectures that are taking place in Israel, we have one tonight in Tel Aviv. Anyone who knows people in the Tel Aviv area can invite them and come with them. But additionally, Aryeh from the Vienna group said that they're having an intro lecture today at 7 p.m. in several places in Vienna. Dozens of people signed up, and they're asking for the support of the World Kli, so those lectures will succeed and they will sign up to campus.
That's it. So what's with...
We'll go to the daily task. On duty with us are a virtual group of Israel, Los Angeles from North America, at number 7, virtual 10 in Florida, number 16, Colombia, virtual 10, and the daily task is try to feel pleasure from bestowing to the friends without any profit for yourself. At the end of the day, share with the friends in the 10 how much this exercise has helped you come closer to the 1. Again, the daily task, try to feel pleasure from bestowing to the friends without any profit for yourself. At the end of the day, share with the friends in the 10 how much this exercise has helped you come closer to the 1. Thank you, and tonight at 6 p.m. Israel time, Zohar lesson live with Rav Leitman. Thank you to our TV viewers. Introductory evenings for the wisdom of Kabbalah. We're happy to invite you to the introductory lectures on the wisdom of Kabbalah and its connection to our lives throughout the month of March in Haifa, Petah Tikva, Tel Aviv, Rishon LeZion, and Be'er Sheva. You can sign up in kab.co.il or 1-700-509-209. All as one World Kabbalah Convention in North America, or everyone is invited to the Congress in North America that will take place between May 3rd and May 6th. For information and registration, one.kabbalah.info. We're going to a lesson summary, and before we start, Marcus will give us some special instructions. Okay, friends, today, instead of the usual summary, we're asking the North America Kli. We're going to have this assignment as a common action as preparation for the Congress. It will also help publicize the Congress. So today, in the lesson summary, we'll answer the question, what is the main reason for which a person should come to a Kabbalah convention? Again, what is the main reason for which a person should come to the Kabbalah convention? Also, the link one.kabbalah.info/kli. Share your answer in this link at the bottom of the page. It will help us to promote the Congress. People who will read it, think about them, that will just go through an intro lecture. Think that those are people who went through an intro lecture only. So again, what is the main reason for which a person should come to a Kabbalah convention? Share it on one.kabbalah.info/kli. Alright, so now we take a quiet moment. Each one writes an answer to this question, and then we'll place the link again. Again, the question, what is the main reason for which a person should come to a Kabbalah convention?
כל חבר מוזמן לשתף את מה שהוא כתב במהלך היום דרך...
Every friend should share what he wrote on the link one.kabbalah.info/kli. one.kabbalah.info/kli. Thank you and a good day. We'll sing a song together.
הכל התחיל עוד בבבל, נפרדנו כך לכל תבל,
חדלנו להבין אחד את השני, איבדנו זה את זה וקשר חיוני.
חצינו יבשות ומלחמות קשות,
עכשיו הנשמות ביחד מממשות.
בני שפות אנחנו, מקצות עולם הגענו, שפתנו היחידה היא שפת האהבה. בני שפות אנחנו, מקצות עולם הגענו, שפתנו היחידה היא שפת האהבה. היום כמו חג בישראל, נוהרים מכל תבל,
משתוקקים רק להתחבר, והתפילה תלך ותתגבר.
כי הנרות דולקים בכל הלבבות,
עם אש האהבה נדביק את הנשמות.
בני שפות אנחנו, מקצות עולם הגענו, שפתנו היחידה היא שפת האהבה. בני שפות אנחנו, מקצות עולם הגענו, שפתנו היחידה היא שפת האהבה.
די די די, היה לנו מדי, רוצים להתחבר, לא פחות ולא יותר.
די די די, היה לנו מדי, רוצים להתחבר, לא פחות ולא שפות אנחנו, מקצות עולם הגענו, שפתנו היחידה היא שפת האהבה. בני שפות אנחנו, מקצות עולם הגענו, שפתנו היחידה היא שפת האהבה. בני שפות אנחנו, מקצות עולם הגענו, שפתנו היחידה היא שפת האהבה. שפת האהבה.
Disparity of form.